Dreams in Apartments is about the journey of following my dream to New York City and that experience of paring down and with perseverance and just being a skeletal version of myself. And I think a lot of people have experiences like this when there's a big change in their life and they have this reason they have to start over new, and how painful it can be, and how many beautiful moments you can have as well when you it's just so honest, and you take away all these things that you thought were you but just defined you in a certain place. So it's about that journey and that vulnerability and that searching and that pumping yourself up to keep going because you have this goal in mind. And I was really overwhelmed by the fact that New York City is just full to the brim of people who are fighting for this, you know, and it is a fight there because financially it's hard to push as an artist, and there are all these people just giving it a go. You can almost, you know, the hearts breaking, hearts beating, hearts thrilled all over the place. And it's a bit overwhelming at times, but it's also an insanely human experience to go through. And so the album is about that pursuit, about that experience, and being surrounded by other people in that experience. I was trying to envision what I would want out of the piano sound for this album, and Aaron Parks came to mind, though we had never played together or I had never met him. But people always say in New York, just ask and see, you know, see what happens, see if they say yes. So I called him up and then sent in some tracks to check out from my first album, and he agreed, and I was extremely delighted. And then we got together and worked on the stuff that I had, and he took them to places that I was really hoping the music would go. R.J. Miller was a recommendation of Aaron Parks. Aaron and I were talking about what the album, you know, what the aim was and what the sound we were going for. And he said, well, you need R.J. then, because R.J. is great at like painting, creating really beautiful sounds. And R.J. is a very unique player, so he was just such a beautiful addition, and I'm so glad that Aaron brought him to my attention. So I was fortunate enough to meet John Hart by playing at the Birdland Jazz Party, and he was the guitarist on that gig for quite a long time, and he is just splendid to work with vocalists. He really gives you space and also listens to what the music needs. Danton Boller was a recommendation of a piano player. I hired him for a gig and was immediately so happy with how he played and him as a person. And so and he's the person on the album I've played with the longest. We've got to play for maybe a year before the album, which was really lovely because he knows my singing, and he is just such a wonderful person to work with. He brought so many ideas and just such a great humble spirit to it that it really set the tone beautifully. A couple months after I moved to New York City, I didn't realize how fortunate I was that I was singing at a jam, an open mic at Smalls late night. And a few people who had just played with Wycliffe Gordon at a gig had convinced him to come out to the jam, and I guess he never, you know, doesn't hang late very often since he's such a busy guy, but I was fortunate enough that he came out that night. And I sat in, and afterwards we chatted, and he said he really enjoyed my singing and, you know, wanted to chat some more about music, and so we did, and that turned into getting to be on his album Hello Pops, Louis Armstrong tribute, where I got to sing a couple duets with him. And in general, he's just been a great support of my music and a lovely person to know. on the scene. It's just nice to have those people that you know have a good heart and are out there, you know, doing music for the right reasons. And so I was really honored and delighted that he agreed to do a solo on our tune, And It's Beautiful, which he said he really enjoyed the tune. And the tune is about the lonely road of making a go of it and persevering. And I think the solo really embodies, you can almost envision someone walking on, like with that little trombone walking away in the distance. They're gonna go fight the good fight, walking off into the horizon. So it really adds a beautiful touch, and it's just such a joy that he could be a part of the album. Yeah, living in New York definitely is something that takes a lot of effort on a daily basis. Things you wouldn't think need that much effort take effort. Just like doing laundry becomes 3 times as difficult and time-consuming as it did living somewhere else. So it definitely tests your desire to follow your dream. So Weight of the World was actually a pretty last-minute addition to the album. Arne was going to fly in like a few days before we recorded, because he was co-producing, and to put stuff together. And right before, like the day before he flew in, I was sitting at the piano and came up with some riffs and such, like kind of like the A section and maybe part of the B section to this tune. And I was kind of digging it, and I thought, well, I'll share this and just see what he thinks. And he's like, yeah, let's keep going with this. And so we finished that, you know, like a couple days, maybe a day before we were recording, and threw it together. And for me, I want to give a piece of myself to tell some part of my story or someone else's story that really creates a connection with people, that you're sharing something extremely human, and for me, that's the ultimate goal of music over anything, is that people leave feeling like they've had a real experience, that this human connection is possible, and I want to give them a part of myself musically. Without you, I know, because of one caress, my world's overturned. At the very start